much welcome to this conversation, dear Harriet Brett. When we met, we discussed many things. What made a huge impression on me that you have been like manager of the residents with dementia, and you had very challenging time over there, but fortunately you learned a lot. So you switched with all these stories that you have inside yourself into public speaking. Now you're speaker, running events in various countries, traveling around the world, and making a huge impact on entrepreneurs, mostly leaders, mentors, and coaches. You are very known for bringing knowledge about confidence coupled with strategies and competence. Very much welcome, my dear Harriet, to this summit.
Thank you so much, Naya. It's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be here. And I just want to honor you for this incredible summit that you are providing to really bring benefit, value, and the opportunity for change and healing to so many people. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And shall we start with when this idea about stories appeared? Because we talked when we first met how much really stories make an impact on people. And as I also studied various modalities, and with stories we can reach very deep. So when your story about stories began?
Absolutely. I've never been asked that before, interestingly enough, and yet it's a topic I speak about all the time. So thank you for this question. I think just to give it a little bit of context as well, and especially to make it relatable for the listeners, as you said earlier, back in my previous life, just in a previous chapter of this life, I was a care home manager. And anyone that's worked in that environment, and I'm sure it's a lot of people listening, know how demanding it can be. And in many environments, in most environments, how governed by paperwork it is. So instead of really having that one-to-one connective care experience, providing true person-centered care, I found myself in an office doing paperwork all the time. And over time, that just became too much for me. And working about 80 to 100 hours, I just felt stressed. I didn't feel valued, appreciated. I didn't feel like I was living a fulfilled life. I wasn't diagnosed at the time, but if I had been, they would have said I was anxious, I had depression, I was stressed out of my mind. And I know there are people listening that felt like that. At this point, I didn't understand self-talk. I didn't understand the stories that Naya has just mentioned and the power that that can bring. But what I did notice was how I was speaking to myself. I would beat myself up all the time. I'm so stressed. I'm so angry. I'm not happy. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. There's not enough time. You know, just this constant barrage of negative and disempowering talk. But I didn't know we could have control of that. I didn't know the power of our self-talk. I was just telling myself that story and therefore feeling deflated, feeling sad, alone, depressed, stressed most days. And it was actually when I made that decision, I made that choice. Thank you, but no thank you. I'm not doing this anymore. There must be more in life. And I actually went and did network marketing. So completely different from the care world and actually very different to what I'm doing now. But it was just that break. It was what got me out. And it's where I found the personal development world. And that's where I listened to these speakers such as Tony Robbins, and in particular, Joe Dispenza. And what I really loved about Joe Dispenza was not just that he shared the day-to-day practicality and different ways in which we can support ourselves to live a healthier, happier, more fulfilled life. He actually backed it by science. There was evidence, there was research behind what he was sharing. And for me at that time, that was just super important. So I listened to everything that he was sharing. And that, I know this is a long answer, but I wanted to give you the true context and help the listeners as well. That was the moment for me where I understood, we determine the experience we live by the way we interpret it in our mind, our self-talk, the way in which we speak to ourselves, the stories that we tell ourselves influence how we feel and how we act every single day. And of course, that determines our results. So as soon as I became aware of that, I started really listening. And I encourage all of you to listen as well. Take that 24 hours and just really start to become aware and notice how you're speaking to yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And over time, and I want to put that out there, I'm sure Naya knows this, things don't happen overnight, but with consistency, with trust, with belief, and with time in using my self-talks to support me, I've absolutely been able to shift to create the life that I really, truly enjoy. No cliches here, just genuinely a life that I truly enjoy, doing what I love, feeling happy, healthy, and well every single day. Do I still have all of these other emotions, anger, fear, self-doubt? Yes, of course. But the majority of time, I am happy, healthy, and well. And I truly believe it's down to my self-talk and the stories that I tell myself.
It's interesting, you say that this consistency. I was working as a professor at the university, and we did very interesting research at that time. We wanted to know who is successful in studies or after at work, and it was not intelligence, it was not some gift, but it was exactly persistence, perseverance, really this everyday work, every day doing something. And it's the same what I perceived with me every day. Okay, now I'm talking not in a good way with myself. How can I change this? And of course, I catch myself still in this, sometimes in these moments, but with this knowledge that I now have, I know that just with repetition of this called self-empowering behavior and thoughts brings me out to the life that I want to live.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so incredible. So how you then started to go out with this idea? Also, first, of course, you are walking example of this with his own negative thoughts in this harsh environment. I know I have a client of mine. She works in that environment, and she's really, oh my God, I humble myself in front of her of what she's capable of doing. She has, my God, so huge heart. So how you walked yourself out of this and start to work with also with other people in the area of what story you tell yourself?
Yes, as I say, I found this network marketing company, and that's where I found this personal development world, etc. So I really started my own journey, and I think many other speakers here will say this perhaps in different ways, but hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If everyone's mentioning it, there's something to it. Everything starts from within. Everything starts from yourself. So I really saw and noticed when I found this information that I had to do the work for me. So through different modalities, from therapy, from energy healing, from hypnotherapy, from coaching, from mentoring to events, webinars, courses, programs, you name it, I went and put myself in those environments. And of course, through doing all of that, I really started to understand myself better. I noticed, let's take one emotion, for example, anger. I used to get angry. I would be very forceful. I would even almost call it rage at sometimes. I could just go from 0 to 100 in seconds and be very forceful, very opinionated, and quite attacking, actually. And whether or not our listeners like to admit it, I know there's people out there that can relate to this. And I started to realize through my journey, through my healing, that my anger was my little Harriet protecting herself. In moments where I felt triggered, where I felt scared of not belonging, where I felt like I would be misunderstood, where somebody did misunderstand me and feel that I was doing something outside of alignment or integrity to what I really felt I was doing, I found those situations very hard to accept, and I would attack. In time, by noticing my story, and there's a couple of other tips that I'm sure we'll be able to share in this interview, by taking that breath. That's huge in supporting yourself to notice your self-talk. By taking that breath and hearing the story that was coming through my mind. Even things like getting jealous with my ex-partner. I used to just attack and say, oh, he's flirting with so-and-so. He's doing this, he's doing that. Again, it was my old story. It was me trying to protect myself and projecting fears onto what was really happening. So to take that pause and to choose my story, to choose how I was going to respond. I believe it's Dr. Viktor Frankl that says we can either react or respond. Most people are reacting. I was reacting. In time, I was able to calm my mind, notice the story that didn't serve me, and choose the language, the story, the sentence that would help me in that moment. And as I said a moment ago, but I really want to drive home, it takes time. I went through a stage where I would feel the anger and I'd feel the rage and I'd feel the old story, and I wasn't calm enough to shift it to the new story, but I just used to let that out. I'm feeling really angry and I know it's not going to massively help me right now. It's not really serving me, but I'm just feeling angry and I want to let it out. That's better than attacking someone. That's better than going, you, rah, 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 and just shouting at someone because you're feeling triggered. Instead, you're saying, I'm feeling angry. I know it's not very helpful right now, but I'm letting it out. Take a breath, calm, and choose your next sentence, your next communication, etc. So it absolutely took me time, and it was through healing myself. But now I would say the majority of the time, like 95% of the time, I am very quick, as soon as I notice that story coming in, to take that breath and choose a different story. And I know this is a long answer, but I just really want to give this to the listeners. It doesn't mean that you don't feel sad, angry, negative, guilty, shame. It doesn't mean that you don't feel all those feelings. It just means that you don't live in them. You understand the emotion that you're having. You understand why you're having it. Anger is for a reason, but it's very different to live in that emotion. So feel, allow your emotions, but choose your day-to-day state of being.
It's really perfect how you explained, because many times people say, yes, if you feel anger, express it, but then they shout on another person, they are opinionated, judgmental to other people. But this is pure gold what you said, expressing, I know that this doesn't help, I'm angry now and I need to let it out. That's, oh my God, this is something that I know that it will serve to many people, because what I actually found out, that many people suppress anger, not express, and then anger comes out on really wrong timing.
Absolutely. And more often than not, in a way you don't want it to.
Exactly.
Most people, if they look back, I mean, if I look back, I'd be mortified at some of the things that I've done when I was angry, right? More often than not, we don't feel good afterwards. Once we've had that moment of raw at some point later, even if we get a little bit of an ego kick, even if we get a little bit of like, yeah, I told them, later on when we come back to ourselves, we realize actually that's not really how I would have liked to have handled it. I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I was able to say this in a different way. So anger is a powerful emotion, but it's terrible when you're trying to communicate.
And also, it's not just towards others, but it's all that mostly towards a person that expresses this anger in inappropriate way, because all these hormones are splashed over the body and attacking own cells. And then we question, why are out there so many autoimmune diseases? Yes, because we suppress all these emotions and we don't express them. You said that you attended many workshops, you watched many videos. Do you think, do you think if a person is capable to learn everything by her own or his own? In my opinion, it's good that a person has somebody that leads you. Of course, there are possibilities, but the quickest way is through somebody that knows how to do it. What is your opinion on that?
I agree and I disagree. I would actually, probably to make it clearer, say I agree with the statement that it's easier, quicker, and probably more enjoyable when you do it with somebody else, when you have that guidance, when you have that support, and also when you have that, I would actually term it as that mentor that is living the knowledge. Because I think, like yourself, Naya, and what you alluded to when you asked me that question was everybody is capable. Everybody has that power, that potential, that wisdom, that inner healing, especially in the topic of beyond traditional care. We all have that ability inside of us. So are we all capable? Yes. Is it easier when there's somebody else? Yes. Right? It's like holding a mirror. Sometimes you just need to borrow somebody else's belief in their topic, their subject, or even your power, yourself. Mentors on my journey held a mirror up and showed me who I was inside. They cheered me on whilst I built my own belief. They gave me the understanding that it was possible. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me too. However, the only way I was able to create that shift was by doing it myself.
Yourself, yes.
Exactly. So it always you have to do the work. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, like I looked for every external route, path, method, process possible to try and become happier and become more successful, whatever your definition is, each to their own, but more successful, more fulfilled, more content, and more empowered in my life. I tried everything, right? Different mentors, like, help me. You have to do the work yourself. That is why I love things like firewalking, though, because firewalking provides a space where they're mentored, right? I'm with them throughout the day. And of course, we do sequencing. So we take them through a series of activities that then lead to being ready to walk the fire in the evening. So yes, that external support helps, provides knowledge, gives information. And yet, when they walk the fire, they feel it inside themselves. They connect with their inner potential. So I know that was a longer answer, but it's like a yes and a no. I think that external support is immensely powerful and can hugely help you, but only when you truly live it, embody it, and be it inside of yourself. That's the only time that you'll see a shift and a change.
Yeah, internalize what you have learned. Absolutely. That's very important. I usually say, we have a saying here in Slovenia, where I'm from, don't try to discover hot water if it's already running.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but I completely agree. The path on your own we are all light beings. We all were born with all these capabilities and everything, but to be capable to go to observe your life from a distance sometimes is a challenge. That's why the easiest way, as you said, also is with a mentor. I usually say also one metaphor, since I know that you like stories. This live mud. I don't know if this is English expression that swallows you, mud that swallows you, or swamp, how it is called in English.
Yeah. I'm thinking of quicksand, but I know what you
mean.
Quicksand,
yes, quicksand. It's quicksand, yeah, quicksand. If somebody is in a quicksand, it's very difficult actually to pull oneself out. But also if a mentor jumps in, it doesn't help at all. So a mentor needs to be really experienced and hand like a branch or something or rope or pull out. But then a person needs to learn how to avoid this quicksand. Otherwise, we'll jump in.
Go back in again. Very true.
Yeah, this is also amazing story. So you mentioned this firewalks. Can you tell us more about this firewalks?
Absolutely. Again, it came through something that I experienced. It was never something that I planned to do. It was just something that was happening at one of the events I attended. The first time I ever walked was with Tony Robbins at UPW. And it was amazing. It was incredible, but it was also very quick. It was with thousands of people. You kind of, you go across the coals super fast. And I don't mean this in an offensive way, because I love Tony Robbins. I love his events, but I actually had a moment of, I think it was tougher for me to walk across the car park in the UK at that time of year when it was freezing and there's little pebbles on the floor. And I was like, this is harder than the fire was. Don't get me wrong, it was still a powerful experience and it still showed me the potential that we have inside of us, but it was just very quick, very speedy. About a month or two later, I attended an event where I got to walk the fire in a different way. I got to spend time with the fire. I got to walk over it many different times, and I really took some profound lessons. And as I said earlier, it showed me my power. It showed me what was possible. So I had to go and get qualified. I had to understand this more. I had to, I felt anyway at that time, like I had to take what had given me such an incredible experience and provide that for other people. And then in time, what I really began to see, and now I provide these events regularly through the year, you know, every time somebody walks, before you step up to that fire, I don't care who you are, what walk of life you are from, when you step up to that fire for the first time, there is fear. In varying amounts, but there is fear. You stand in front of fire, hot coals, and you go, oh, right? We've been told our whole life, don't touch fire, you'll get burned. It's too hot, don't touch that. Our instinct reaction with our bodies, if something gets too hot, is to recoil and to pull away. So not only are you going against a visceral, scary experience, you've also got all the stories that you've been told since you're a tiny little toddler, don't touch fire, you'll get burned. So in that moment, it's allowing yourself to feel that fear and yet choose to walk. And as I said earlier, we go through different processes to allow you to be in that space where you feel confident to say yes. We never force anybody to walk, but we take you through a process where you feel that fear and you choose to walk. Now, let's think about that in your everyday life. How often does fear show up? Like, I'd argue for many people, it's most days, but I'll be kind. Most weeks, most months, fear shows up. Maybe it's about sending an email. Maybe it's asking a boss for a pay rise. Maybe it's you've just been diagnosed with something that you're finding really difficult to accept within yourself and you're scared about it. Let's all just take a breath. And I send love if that is you. But again, in that moment, you have a choice to live in fear and to not ask your boss for a pay rise, not ask clients to sell your product, not go and ask this gorgeous looking person out on a date, etc., etc. Think of all those times that fear shows up in your day-to-day life. This time you get to feel the fear, but make a choice. I'm not going to react, like I said earlier, react or respond. I'm not going to react to the fear and run away. I'm not going to get stressed. I'm not going to leave myself stuck and nursing a self-pity story. Instead, I'm going to choose my response right now. I know it's scary. I'm not trying to say like, oh, forget about it. Fear doesn't exist. I've got this. No, I'm saying, guess what? I'm strong enough, I'm brave enough, and I'm courageous enough. I have the power inside of me. And even though this is so scary right now, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to choose to respond. And that is the power that we have every single day. And that's the power that the fire gives you very quickly. Feel the fear, but walk the fire. Feel the fear, step up in your day-to-day life.
In your experience, have you already overcame fear when you stand in front of the fire? Because I did quite a lot of firewalks. Never ends. That's a never ending story. And it's always a decision, as you said. I will walk. What about you?
I mean, I have probably walked about 400 times now. So I would say the fear for me is dissipated, right? And that's the same with all of us with anything that we do in our lives. If you do it enough times, then you learn to feel comfortable, to feel confident. So I wouldn't say that I'm scared of the fire anymore, but what I would say, exactly, I'm respectful of the fire. And also that's a really beautiful question, because what I've noticed, and it took me time to get there, right? You know, the first 10, 20, 30 times I walked, fear showed up. And every so often now, there might be perhaps a different environment or a different circumstance, and I'll notice it rush through me. But again, I'm just much quicker to take that breath and choose my response. But as you say, I am respectful. And I've noticed, and again, this could be kind of a whole interview in itself, so I'll just keep it short and keep it quick. But I've noticed whether it is fear or ego. So after I walked the fire and everything was fine, I went back to the fire in ego. Like, I've done it before. I've got this. I could do it. And I walked across and we like to call them a little kiss. I got a little kiss. Language matters. So we like to call it a little kiss from the fire. But yes, a little blister. And it wasn't fear, but it was a lack of respect. It was being complacent to what was in front of me. And again, we can look at this from spirituality, from science, but it was really interesting to see and notice that not just a fearful state of mind, but actually being an ego influenced what I received from the fire as well. So yes, not fear anymore, but always, always, always respect.
Being humble in front of fire.
Absolutely.
This is also my experience. And you expressed this so good.
What would you say you took from the fire? I always like meeting a firewalker. So what did it do for you?
Fire, what it did for me. It was exactly what you said, an experience. Yes, I can overcome my limiting beliefs. This was the essence of every time as I walked. Of course, each time I went with certain purpose on a fire.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, but with a certain purpose. Yeah, and most of the time I actually I wasn't kissed by fire. What actually I perceive when I get these kisses, now it's a new term for me. It's like burning a blockage inside me. Wherever, I know also some reflexology, and wherever I got this kiss of the fire, I know what was behind, where I need to work a little bit more to know myself more.
Yeah. Amazing. Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful awareness.
yeah. Because everything what is inside us and around us help us to discover ourselves.
Absolutely.
So you do fireworks for awakening. What else is that you do for this awareness? What stories are behind us?
So I think some easy ones that people listening can really sort of take away. Some of these you've probably heard of, but my question is, are you doing it? Yes. It's one thing to know the information, it's another thing to use it. So as I say, people might have heard of these tips, but truly, if you do them every day, and I'm not saying all of them every single day, choose what works for you. Yes, we are all so similar and we all have so much in common, and yet we are all different. So find what works for you. Even, for example, journaling. Yes, journaling is so powerful. It's a way of releasing those thoughts inside of your mind to help you in living, creating, and being in that empowered story. When we journal, we can let the old limiting beliefs out. We can let all the blah, 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 stuff that's going around in our mind out onto paper. But some people don't really enjoy writing. Some people want to be out walking in nature, and they journal through their voice. They put their phone up. This isn't a phone, it's a map, but pretend. They put their phone up, they hit record, and they speak it out. So it's like vocal journaling. For me, even as a speaker, I don't enjoy that way. I like my journal, I like pen and paper. I create a moment, I light a candle, and I journal. So there's one way that you can support yourself in letting out the old story and even writing or speaking your new story that you're going to start becoming aware of and telling yourself inside of your mind. So one, journaling. I'm not going to do that for all of them, but just to open people's minds and get creative with
May I just add something?
please.
But then you will continue, because journaling is brilliant idea, and I'm one of the persons, people that I cannot journal, and I walk, and walk, and during walk, so many things clarify. I get this really clarity of mind, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, and then when I come home, I am just aware that I want to select and choose something else.
Yes, exactly. So beautiful, beautiful example. Thank you for sharing that. And it's about finding out what process works for you. But that's the key, is finding what works. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza's work. If you are someone that is supporting yourself through healing yourself right now and you don't know who he is, go and check him out. And he's even got an incredible film that shares, demonstrates, and shows people with severe and terminal diagnoses actually being able to come back and heal themselves. But as he shares, we either release it through journaling, through speaking it out, through letting it go, or we repress it. And it is in the repressing of these emotions that we start to cause the physical disease, the physical condition, the physical representation of what we are stuffing down inside of us. So whichever way you do it, I love Naya's example there. Do it, let it out, release what isn't serving you and choose what is serving you. A couple of other really quick and easy ones: visualization, seeing for yourself what it is that you would like. This is also a powerful way that people have healed themselves. They've supported themselves to see that part, that area, that place within their body that they have an illness, and really see it as healed, see it as fixed. But again, the key is not just telling yourself and lying to yourself. The key is the feeling in which you are thinking and visualizing within
feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling everything. It really so is. Many people are caught in just, these visualizations, but then nothing happens because they don't feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll wrap up the last one with what we've been talking about. Really, truly, my biggest tip is your self-talk. It is the tool that you have with you all day, every single day. How are you speaking to yourself? But as Naya just said, especially when you're kind of either visualizing or you're really talking to yourself in a serious way to give yourself a message, it's not what you're saying, it's how you're feeling. You know, I'm sure all of you have seen those mantras out there. I am like a powerful, amazing, strong woman. And right now you're feeling self-doubt, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling nervous, you're not trusting yourself. And I've been there. You're not trusting yourself. Your self-talk couldn't be more disempowering. And then you stand in front of a mirror and say, I am a strong, confident, and powerful woman. And your subconscious just goes, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Like, you don't feel it. So if you're at that stage, like, you need to speak in a kind, friendly way to yourself. And what's the shift? Instead of I'm not confident, I can't do this, what about I'm becoming more confident?
Yeah.
I'm choosing to feel better each day. I know it's a process, but this is day one and I'm getting better. I'm becoming stronger. I know it's possible for me. What is a sentence, a story that you can tell yourself that supports you? And that's my final tip with self-talk. Be your own best friend. Whether it's illness, whether it's to do with your health, whether it's to do with your finances, your business, your relationships, you and your life. Speak to yourself as you would a best friend. If you start hearing a story that doesn't serve you, say, if my best friend came to me right now saying this, feeling this, how would I help them? And do that for yourself.
Yeah, this is self-parenting. Yeah, how we talk with ourselves. I have one client, and she has a serious disease, and she came with various occasions to me, and she explained how she discovered how she talked to herself. And then I asked her, how you talk to your child? And then she explained, as I said, now you start talk with yourself the same way. And it's exactly what you said also. If we come out with this huge, I'm a powerful, magnetic, beautiful woman, and in the back. So, and for example, this one is also very powerful message. With people who drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes, I usually suggest select one day. I don't smoke one day. Not I stopped smoking, because with stopped smoking, the pressure from the behind is so strong that it's difficult to resist, actually. But
Yeah.
one day, and next day, another day, and another, and then friends ask you, "Oh, you stopped smoking?" No, just today I decided I don't smoke.
Yeah. Nice, powerful. Just doing it step by step in a way that your brain can manage it better.
Step by step. I work quite a lot with drug addicts. This was with heroin and different heavy drugs, and it was day by day decision. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any of such examples that you can tell to the audience?
In terms of drug addiction or
whatever, step by step, or from your practice.
I think in this scenario, I'm going to sort of follow from that route, I think, and just say with weed, and it was my own story. I got myself into a space where I was really escaping with cannabis and marijuana. I'm someone that has ADHD and high levels of energy, so I was able to kind of mask it and still show up day to day, functioning and being a part of whatever it was that I was doing. But actually, most of the time I was high behind the eyes. And it really was an escape tool. It was because I was unhappy. It was because I felt lonely. It was because I was depressed and sad in my own life. It was not long after I said about leaving the care home. And it was through the step by step. I'd smoked before in my life around university, and ongoing for quite a few years. And it was something that I returned to with such a vengeance. And I mean, like, wake up in the morning, roll a joint, smoke it before I've even got out of the bed, go down to have breakfast, roll another joint, have it with breakfast, have another one before I walk into work. Like, I'm talking that amount of smoking. And as Naya just said, it wasn't by saying, I'm going to quit, I'm never smoking this again. That was just like hard on myself. It was false. It felt, the first few times I said it, it felt good. I'm never smoking again. I could do this. And then one day, 2 days, whatever it was later, I'd find myself back with this long stick hanging out my mouth. But it was only when I actually took that approach. So I think this is an example that follows on to what you're saying really nicely. It was only when I just took it step by step. I'm not having one this morning. I didn't even start with days. I was like, I'm not having one this morning. Let me wake up and get out of bed without doing it. I'm going to wake up and not have one. Actually, I'm going to have my breakfast without one. And I think for the first few days, this is a while ago now, so I don't exactly remember the process. But I think for the first few days, like, I allowed myself then to have one at lunchtime, to have one in the evening. But one was better than like 30 that I'd been chugging down. And it was through that just, oh, it's been a morning, it's been a day. And then once it had become a week, once it had become a fortnight, once it had become, wow, I've not been smoking for a month. Yes. Now that feeling of satisfaction, that excitement, and the energy levels that I felt back in my life, the levels of productivity, the levels of vitality, even my conscious choices, I was back loving what I was doing and energetically taking part in life as well as my business, rather than being a bit of a vegetable on the sofa when I got home every night. So I was celebrating the wins and using the story that supported me in doing it every minute, every hour, every section of the day, and then every day, as Naya said.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Mothering, parenting self. So how we would beat ourselves for doing wrong, or allowing, for example, if a child draws on walls, of course you can draw on a wall, but here is paper on a wall. You can do it here. So we allow ourselves to be expressed, and then our inner child gets comprehension, and from this we can grow our inner child. Actually, probably you studied also many things about the inner child. We can go through life just as far as our inner child is developed.
Yes, very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. How you told that you mothered yourself, you allowed yourself, you were tender towards yourself. Is there something else that you did for yourself? And you also said that you celebrated a small wins. This is very important. And probably you are doing this also while journaling. Celebrating these small wins. And is there something else that you did for yourself?
Yes, I learned to trust myself, and I learned to do what I wanted to do. And that sounds very simple, but there's a lot of people out there that have a thought, have a desire, gain divine inspiration, and they don't act on it because they let fear get in the way. They let the old story get in the way. They let the old version of themselves get in the way. So I really learned to trust in myself, to act from a grounded position. I was also that girl that would emotionally, good and bad, right? I spoke about my anger and reacting earlier. I was also that person that could be very easily emotionally manipulated because I had that need to please, that need to try and get others to like me. So if I was in a really high state of like, yes, 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 it was very easy to get me to do whatever you wanted, because I'd be like, yes, sure, I'll do it. So I learned to come into a place inside of myself. I learned to say a strong, resounding yes, and I learned to say a strong, resounding no to others, but also to myself. And even if it was scary, even if it was frightening, even if I questioned a gazillion times how I would do it, or if I'm crazy for doing it, I would show up and do it anyway. And I think that's a really important message for people. You may not get the exact result that you want straight away, but act on your desires. And again, that follows nicely from self-talk, right? Our thoughts determine our feelings, how we feel, our emotional state. Your thoughts and your feelings determine your actions and what it is that you do. And then, of course, your actions determine the life that you live. So take bold, audacious action. And that's going to look different for everybody, but trust yourself, learn and connect with yourself to know what it is for you, and then trust yourself to take action on it, no matter how it feels. Feel the fear and take action.
Did you come across that some people turned back when you started to act differently?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And of course.
What you did, because many people that I meet, then they are scared of losing others. What you did for
so
stepping into your power?
Yeah, I'm going to give two answers. So when, first of all, I got very, to start with, I got very an ego, and I was like, okay, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm good. I've got this. Rah, rah, rah. Very ego place to be. And it's also a total lie. We are wired to care what other people think. So my first tip is, we're wired to care what other people think. But as Michelle Obama says, who are you giving your mic to? Whose opinion do you care about? So now I have my husband, I have my mentors, and I have a very small, tight, wonderful circle of people that I love, trust, care about, and I know they're going to celebrate me when I'm winning, but I also know they're going to go, Harriet,
It's not good.
Exactly. And they're going to hold me to the standard, not that they set for me, but that I set for myself. Because that's another thing. Set your own standards. You are and you should be who you want to become. I always think that we're not finding or becoming, we're revealing who we already are inside, and perhaps taking that to the next level. So number one is really, if it's anyone outside of that with love, it's not that I don't care. I'm just not letting your opinion get to me. Yes, Les Brown said, never let someone else's opinion define your reality. So for me in my circle, and you need to do this for you in your circles, but for me, if someone just shouts at me in the street, or an audience member or a participant or a comment on social media comes up like, I don't agree with you, that was absolute bull. What if someone comes back, watches this interview and says, Harriet, what you said was a load of rubbish? Thank you, and no thank you. Like, okay, you didn't resonate with it, that's fine. I did, it worked for me, and there's a load of people over here that it's working for. So instead of caring about this opinion, I'm going to keep going in this direction. However, if it is someone that you value, somebody that you care about, number one, listen to them. Maybe they're seeing something you're not. Yes, maybe they're seeing something you're not, and maybe you should listen to them. But if it's about stepping into your power and doing what you want to do, and one of your loved ones, mother, father, husband, wife, daughter, whoever it is, best friend, but someone close to you is saying, don't do it. Again, you love them, you care about them, and they're telling you that because they love you, but they're also only telling you from what they know. Yes, my mum, when I started in this world of speaking, was like, oh, you're going to be back at the family business. This won't last. You can't get paid to be a speaker. You can't run a business as a speaker. I earned the wage that I left in one event. My entire annual salary I earned in my first 3-day event. In my mum's mind, that wasn't possible. Why? Because she'd never done it. She didn't know the world of speakers. She didn't know anybody else that was doing this. So for her, from her experience in her life, even though she loved me, Harriet, I don't think this is a thing. You can't do it. Actually, Mum, I love you. Thank you for your opinion. But guess what? I see that it is. I know that it is. There are other people out there doing it. So I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to follow my heart. Even though you don't agree, I'm not going to rub it in your face. I'm not going to argue. And this is key. People try and argue about it. Don't argue. They've just got a different opinion. Yes. So thank you for your opinion, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a go. And then when you can come back, if you commit, if you put your mind to it and you really go all out and you do it for yourself, then you come back and go, guess what, Mum? And you don't rub it in their face, but you say, guess what? My business is actually really successful and really profitable. and I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. I get to make an impact and I get to make an income. This is obviously specific to my example of being a speaker, but whatever it is for you, whatever it is that you desire, if someone close to you is saying no, listen to the no and understand why. And if it's just because they don't know and they don't understand, thank you, but I choose to go and do it anyway. It is your life, it is your choice, and you will only ever live the life that you decide to step into.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yes, on everything. And while you have been speaking, another story came to my mind about many people shouting. For example, with me was when I was diagnosed with a cancer. Only 7 people, besides medical doctors, knew about this diagnosis. Why, actually? Because these 7 people had a complete 100% trust that I will survive, not just survive, but overgo cancer. Yeah, and when I was out of that sentence, out of that zone, then I started to tell also other people my story. And again, I was getting, yeah, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing this. And then once one man asked me, what you do with all these negative messages that you get? And I said, I treat everything like a post. Post comes to you, and if you don't accept the post, it goes back to the sender.
Yes.
Very simple.
I really like that. It reminds me as well, there's another one I heard, I believe it was through Buddha. If you're in a line, so imagine 20 people in a line and they're all walking down the street and someone behind them, right? So you're in a line, you're walking down and someone shouts from behind, "You idiot!" If you turn around, who called you the idiot? You're the only person in 20 people that turned around and received it. So you've chosen to take it on. Whenever someone says something to you, you can choose to either accept it, receive it, react to it, whatever you want, or you can choose to say, thank you, but no thank you.
Or another story I also remember. For example, somebody throws a banana peel into you and banana peel lands on your chest. What you're doing? Oh, banana peel, banana peel, or you just grab and take off.
Yeah, that's a nice visual one to see as well.
So very, very good. For the final thoughts, what you would like to give the audience? You gave really true treasure. What you delivered, how to think about self, how to behave, how to choose one's own path. Just final thoughts for a summary. What's like a cherry on the top of already on the cream?
A little cherry on top of the cream. I like it. I think first I just want to again acknowledge you and everything that you are doing with this summit. I'm excited to hear the other speakers that are sharing, and I definitely encourage your listeners to make the most of everything that you are providing. This is an incredibly powerful experience with hugely beneficial information that can make a difference. So thank you so much for everything that you are doing, Naya. Of course, thank you to everybody that is listening. Please do connect if I can support or help you in any other way. But my final thoughts, we've spoken a lot about your self-talk in the present moment. And, I'm a speaker trainer. She said that at the beginning, but I'm just passionate about this area too. And for me, any communication, whether it's speaking from a stage or whether it's your day-to-day communication, starts inside of yourself. So I would say we've spoken about the awareness in the present moment. We've spoken about how you can use your story on a day-to-day basis to determine how you feel and what you're doing in that moment. Well, I'd like to take it to that next level as well now and say, not only can you heal your past, lovingly accept where you are, but you can start excitedly creating your future. And again, I only ever recommend doing this when you are in a beautiful state of mind. Yes, this is not to do when you're stressed or you're having that annoyed moment, right? When you're feeling good, you're in a wonderful place, then start thinking about the future that you would like to create. What is it that you want to grow into? Not because you're so frustrated with where you are. It's very hard to get to where you're going if you're super frustrated with where you are. It's like, let's put some gratitude in the tank. Let's put some appreciation fuel in the tank to give us hope for possibility in the future. But use your self-talk to design your future. What do you want? Who do you want to become? What do you want to reveal about yourself? How do you want your relationships to be? What do you want your health to look like? Your energy levels on a day-to-day basis? What do you want your finances to look like? Your life, every area of your life. And when you start telling yourself that story, and of course, aligning your actions with that, guess what? It doesn't become a future dream. It becomes your reality. So self-talk heals, lovingly accepts the now, but also supports you in creating that exciting future.
My dear Harriet, very much thank you. Grateful from my heart for everything what you told now, because this was really gold, and I trust that the audience will have plenty of insights out of your talk. So thank you very much for accepting my invitation and to being present here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naya. We continue rising together.